Afro-Caribbean is a term given to a group of people that come from the Caribbean that are of African descent. Meanwhile, African Americans are just Americans of Black African descent. And although you may not be able to tell the difference between the two groups by appearance, there's definitely an academic skills gap between the two. Good morning. My name is Talia Correa. As you can see from the U.S. Census Bureau, from the 1980s to the mid-2000s, the population of immigrants almost doubled because around the 1960s, a massive influx of immigrants came to the United States for job opportunities and for a higher quality of life. When these immigrants came to the United States, they mostly settled in Florida and New York, which have large metropolitan areas such as New York City and Miami, because they wanted better jobs, according to Migration Policy Institute. According to Curtis Valentine, an executive director of the Education Advocacy Organization, Afro-Caribbean students have higher academic standards because their parents basically told them that they came to the United States to live the American dream, which is the opportunity to, like, if you work hard, then you'll have a happy life and you'll have a happy family and you'll be successful. As you can see, when the immigrants first settled in the United States, which was around the 1960s, they had the vision of, like, the white picket fence and a perfect life. Okay. Another difference between Afro-Caribbean and African American parents is their involvement in their students' academic success. Afro-Caribbean parents seem to stress the importance of academic success more because of, as I previously stated, the American dream. So they basically said, we didn't come here for you to fail. We came here for you to be successful. Meanwhile, according to studies by John Stewart, who works with the Migration Policy Institute as well, he said that African Americans may have lower grades than African Caribbean students because studies have shown that African American families are more likely to be in a one-parent household with the parent having a lower educational attainment than Afro-Caribbean parents. According to Patrice Pinder, it is basically believed that the lower graduation rates and the higher success among Afro-Caribbean students is because of the mindset that each group of people have, because Afro-Caribbean students, they weren't in the United States and their parents weren't in the United States during the time of slavery and oppression, so they don't have as much of a negative attitude towards white people. Another thing is the environment. Although Obama was elected as being the first Black president in the United States, he inspired a generation of African American students, but Afro-Caribbean students have government officials, teachers, doctors, as shown up here. They see them every day. So seeing more successful people that look like them may encourage students to want to further their education and reach their full potential. 3 solutions that could be put into place is incorporating African American parents into their children's academic lives so that they know what's going on and they could help their child if they're not doing so well in school. Showing more successful African American leaders in school other than the few units that you see in history of famous abolitionists. And also mentorship programs can be led by successful African American professionals to help African American students see that they can be worth more than just the average student. Thank you. What questions do you have?
All right. Sorry. How valid and reliable were the sources that you used, and then how did you know that they were?
I knew that they were reliable because I mostly use data from the census, and usually the census is pretty valid, and I also checked others, since it's like a government-issued website, that I knew that it would be pretty valid, but I also checked other sources and I checked their reliability. Like when I used a survey for my paper, I made sure that it was out of like a couple thousand people instead of, a few hundred.
Right.
So.
All right, the other question I have isn't on the list. It's brought up by what you presented. How do you know that the higher performance of Afro-Caribbean students, how do you know that it's because they're Afro-Caribbean and not just Caribbean? Maybe it's a Caribbean culture, so Hispanic Caribbean students, white Caribbean students may also perform better as compared to their counterparts here in the United States.
Yeah, that may be true, but I was just focusing on a certain group of people because I know that in America, like, black, they just think of black as the appearance. So I was trying to specify, like, a different, groups of people. So
Okay,
I was
cool.
trying to narrow it down.
Thank you.